is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at DorothyLaneMusic.com. Yeah. Mic check 1, 2, 3. I've been thinking lately about, actually not lately, but I've been thinking on and off a lot of times about how off track I've been with my nutrition and how I've been putting on the weight, podcast after podcast and month after month. It's sort of like the same kind of song and dance, and there are little moments of like, yeah, I think I'm kind of like taking a turn and in the right direction, and I'm doing these things now. I've worked out this way and that way. I've done doing some tracking here and there, but it really hasn't stuck. There was I think the most activity that I had was during the summer, where I maybe had 4 or 5 good days where I actually spent time running, but that didn't last long, and it's like it's really tough to get into something, and what I'm thinking about lately, now this is more lately, is that I need to say to myself, like, you have a personality, whether you want to call it an addictive personality or not, a type of personality where if you aren't doing the thing that certain thing where you can focus a lot of your energy, then there's a disruption, and something else is going to occupy or consume your energy in that addictive way. So the shift was sort of like, I didn't realize it at first, but then essentially what happened is, and it has taken a big toll on my, being in shape and having motivation and putting on weight, has been the alcohol, right? And I know a lot of you guys that know me, you're like, oh, no shit, Sherlock. Duh, I could have told you that. But, and it's one of those things where generally I know that that's a problem, but then I was in denial. And I was in denial, thinking, well, let's just run a test. Let's see how I do. Let's see if I just stay, NSNG, all day, except for the end of the day, where I just sort of overindulge with alcohol. Let's go see what happens. And and what's happened is I put on the weight. I'm not fitting the clothes I'm not fitting the clothes the way I used to, and I think there's enough time where I'm just too busy to really think about it. And then when I kind of wind down at the end of the day and I get that next drink, then I'm just too numb to really even think about it. And, I'm just not giving a shit, And then there's moments where it's like, okay, it's time to take some family pictures. And I'm like, okay, I can't fit any of these clothes anymore. That's a problem. But is it as big of a problem? Is it such a problem that I will really make some changes? And, I've battled with that question, and I wondered about whether or not I'd find something or experience something that really puts me over that hump, or that is that tipping point that tells me to, like, you got to do something about it. You got to make some changes, seriously. I work in the garage. I'm like cleaning stuff up and organizing stuff, and putting away Halloween decorations and getting ready for the next set of decorations. And I think about this stuff, and because I'll be kneeling or squatting down in the garage working on rolling up some lights and things, and I could feel all of that extra mass around my waist. That's like that. That's uncomfortable. And so I think about it. I'm thinking, what's it really going to take? Is it really going to take me, like, getting ridiculously out of shape? Is it going to take me experiencing symptoms of some ailment? And I'm sort of I've just been aware but not acting on anything. And but the whole topic of having an addictive personality, I had kind of by chance got in conversation. It was only like 15-20 minutes with a guy. He had ordered treats from the bake shop, and they were there's some specialty stuff that he ordered that were labeled as keto, and listen, folks, if you're buying keto stuff from a bake shop, you need to assess your definition of what keto really is, because there's faux keto and there's marketing keto, and then there's like dietary keto, clinical keto. What really, what it is, right? What is it, right? So anyways, he bought stuff, and I went to deliver it to him. We met up in front of a coffee shop. Then we got to talking, and he's like, he's interested in more keto stuff because it's so popular, and it's just, he had this level of excitement around keto, and how much he's lost, like, 30 pounds, and he's in his 40s, early 40s, and he's more active, and he's got a lot of energy, and it's like, what he doesn't know about me was, like, I was that guy, and it's kind of sad, because I'm saying I was that guy. I was that guy at the beginning of this podcast, right? Burning fat for fuel, running, going on fasted runs, going on long runs, and running events, and, not sucking on sugar, and all that stuff, and feeling great, and he was basically reciting knowledge that I was really full aware of, right? And I wonder, like, I really appreciated the conversation, because it was sort of like, it reminded me so much of what it was like, making that lifestyle change and benefiting from it and wanting more of it and wanting to share more of it. I had fizzled out, and I don't know. I mean, I don't want him or anyone else to fizzle out, right? I fizzled out, and I told him I fizzled out because I just had other things going on and I just needed a level of control in my life that, would give me a level of sanity. And even if that level of control meant I was going to make bad choices, if I was going to I'm like, I can't, I have no control over my job situation, and I'm kind of losing my mind, and I just need something to grab onto. I'm going to have that French fry, right? Or I'm going to have that beer, something like that, And one thing leads to another, and it just continues on, little by little, over a long period of time, right? It isn't like a consistent, mess up, screw up, fuck up, but it's more like it comes in waves, Yeah, I have bad days, I have good days, I have bad days, I have good days. There was a good period where, my wife and I were working out together, twice a week, 3 times a week. And, I got in pretty good condition to actually run that 50K back in, February, and felt really good about my fitness, and I got through it. I wasn't the best shape, as far as weight wise, but for the fitness wise, for the activity, I was good. I was good for the run. I was good for the trail. I'm still mediocre to back of the pack, whatever you want to call it, but I was good for my performance. I got through the course, and I beat cutoff. So that, to me, that was a win. So that was a good period of good, and then there was a period of like everybody else, March hits, and it's okay, I'm at home with everybody, everyone's safe, but I've lost a bunch of freedom and time to actually enjoy going out to run and stuff, because everybody has to watch everybody at home, I have to work, watch the kids, and it's I can't leave for an hour or two to go on a run and feel good about stuff. I'm just kind of stuck here. Oh, day in, day out, day in, day out. And, then, you throw in some drinking, and next thing you know, there's more drinking and more of the same thing day after day of doing nothing. And it's this is not good, And then it becomes I just don't give a shit, right? So, sucked, man. It really sucked. It's a struggle. But I don't know. I'm gonna say it here. And I don't know when I'm gonna let this out. And only time will tell if I put my foot in my mouth or if I'm full of shit. But I want to say no more drinking. Tonight, today, I had one drink. I'm gonna call that my last. I need to be one of those guys that says I quit drinking. I need to be one of those guys that says I quit drinking a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 years. Because I've known on and off that it's been a big contributor to me not having the motivation and taking me away from participating in activities and exercise that would just improve my mental state rather than sort of numb my mental state. So, I need to be very intentional and aware that if I have an addictive personality, then I'm more at risk of falling off, right? I need to be more intentional in avoidance, and intentional in finding other things that I can spend my energy on. so that I am doing better for myself and at the end better for my family as well. And better for my clothes, geez Louise. So like, I started thinking like, okay, I'm gonna hop on Amazon. I'm gonna start buying kind of the bigger size shirts and things, just so that I don't feel all of my uncomfortable chunkiness that's kind of brushing up against the inside of my current clothes. But then that's, sure, it's good to feel good in the clothes you wear, but I need to just kind of fix this. So, yep, here we are. It's, what are we? It's November 20th. And I'm going to call that the last time I had a drop of drink. And that's my end and my start, I suppose. So, I had to put it out there, and I don't know when and where, I don't know how, I don't know. I'll put this out, and and just try to get myself straight, and maybe I can be that guy once again, kind of super excited, and be a big contributor to the community because I've just been so gone and lost, and suffering. Okay, I gotta do some stuff. Alright, I'm back. So, like I'm just driving back. I just finished the story again, but I'm just driving past this Mexican restaurant that I've gotten lunch at, numerous times during this whole pandemic thing, and I was just not giving a care. I was like, I'm just gonna be normal, the old normal, it's like, okay, I'm just kind of, it'll be a day in a week, or I'm just kind of grinding with work, or I'm kind of just grinding, paying attention to the kids in school, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And it's like, oh my God, I've been here at this computer all morning. I'm gonna go. I just finished making lunches for kids, and I just want to go out. I'm gonna go get something for lunch. So I'll go. Where am I gonna go? I'm gonna support local business. There's that Mexican restaurant. I mean, the guy's kind of nice to me, so he calls me, amigo, and 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 I'm gonna go get a beer in the middle of the day, have lunch. I'll have a beer while I'm waiting for my lunch because it's takeout, So I was like, started that sort of trend, it's like, just go for Mexican, go get some nachos and tacos and things, and I want to be waiting. I might as well at least kind of keep myself busy. Yeah, you've got a whole sort of like cooler thing of like bottled beers there. Give me one of those over there. He's like, sure, senor. Like, would you like a lime wedge in it? I'm like, yeah, sure, if you got it. And I'm like I'm feeling grown up. I'm having a beer during lunchtime, right? Just not caring, man. Yeah. So, goodbye to that. I just, it's got to be part of the whole sort of, what do we call it? I don't want to call it like a revamp. I don't want to call it like a cleansing. It just sounds so dorky. I don't know. I've used shift in the past, but, so that means like I've unshifted and I got to reshift. What do you want to call it? But, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting because it's Friday right now. Tomorrow, Saturday, because that's what happens. Right, Saturdays after Friday. We're going to head out. We're going to head out and spend a few days out of town again. And, we're not going to be at home. We're going to be, we're going to have to, do some level of grocery shopping, which is great, and I get to get, my grub, and it'll be a test of me not folding to showing signs of weakness and like, I'm having a craving for something to drink and wet my whistle, Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, I've got to do that. And then maybe, maybe there'll be a time where, maybe there'll be a time, maybe not. No, that's gonna dumb. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to say, yeah, I'll get clean for like 3 or 4 years, and then I'll kind of get right back into it, because that's playing with fire, with someone who's starting to believe that he has an addictive personality, that he's gonna fucking do that, and he's gonna just waste it all again. So yeah. So, wish me luck. I haven't told my wife yet. I don't want to be that loser that says, I'm going to quit drinking today. And then only for like the next day, yep. She's like, I thought you stopped drinking. I was like, yeah, I know I said that. I'll stop again today. And then guess what? I sound like every other alcoholic out there, right? That's my seatbelt rattling. I just let it go. I'm done. And that's that.
Do you need a website? If you're an individual, a consultant, a group, or small business and need a site, or maybe you have an existing site, I can help. How about graphic design? Do you need a design for a t-shirt, logo, product, business cards? Maybe you need help with designing and developing a brand. I'm not an expert, but I do have the tools and the techniques to get the job done. How about a podcast? Yep, like this thing. This thing's a silly little show. Are you looking to set up a podcast of your own? Are you looking to reach an audience? Promote your business via podcast? Well, Abadam Studios. That's right, Abadam Studios. Yeah, so that's Abadam Studios. AbadamStudios.com, AbadamStudios.com. Check it out. Hey, everybody. I'm back. So, just back from a long weekend away. Which kind of doesn't matter to call things a weekend anymore, but I guess it still counts because my wife and I weren't at work, the kids weren't in school, but, we've rolled into the week of Thanksgiving, so the kids are out of school. Anyways, and, so yeah, we went out of town last Friday, so the weekend before Thanksgiving week, and just got back. It's Tuesday night. Sort of settled in, got everything offloaded, the bikes and the baggage, and it was a great trip. It was a nice new experience for the family. I don't even remember if I talked about it in the previous segment, but we did have this RV camp out, and I call it an RV camp out because we originally planned to get an RV, a motor home, and then plans changed, and they changed because the logistics were better for the trip. If we got the motorhome, what would have happened was we would have had to drive over at a particular time of the day to pick up the thing, only to not use it. Right? We would basically drive it home, and it would sit overnight in front of the house until we headed out the next morning. Then we would need to, leave kind of extra early so that we could take the RV back, right? By a particular time. Anyway, just timing was weird, and it allowed the RV to not be utilized for part of the time it's with us, and also not be maximized because we were too concerned. We would be too concerned about taking it back to the RV place. It was what they call a round trip sort of deal. So it was kind of late. We don't want it, but it was too late to get our money back. And it no longer is that time of the pandemic where they're just giving money back. They're kind of stuck on a policy of, well, we'll give you your deposit in the form of a gift card or a gift credit or something. Like, fine. But still tried to beg for sympathy, and or they weren't having it. It's like, okay, at least we got something better than nothing. So the plans changed, and jeez Louise. So people can't drive. So I was just inches away from some idiot crashing into me. And if I play this game right, I can slow down, and then he's going to slow down even more because he's not going to want me to have visual on him. Yeah, sure enough, that's happening. Oh, what a loser. Yeah. It's just the world we live in. Anyways, yeah, so plans changed, and we found it late, but at least we found it because it was a really good experience. And it was one of those things where we got use of a much larger trailer, something that we don't have the capability of actually hauling ourselves. So, and my wife had already booked the campsite, so what we were left was finding out, who was renting an RV and doing this deal where they were renting it out and they were delivering it to the campsite, meeting us there to, sort of give us the rundown on how to operate the thing. So that's kind of what we did. It wasn't a full-blown RV hit the road experience as we originally thought. So we're sort of like, it was basically like glamping, right? We're at an RV campsite, and they've got so many options there for glamping and things, and RV hookups and cabin rentals and things. So it's kind of cool. And it actually was really cool. The trailer was cool. It was again, it was a new experience for the family, and my wife and I, we weren't raised, we didn't grow up experiencing these sorts of things. So, this was our second time at an RV park. First time was we rented a cabin at a park. It was cool, and we got to enjoy the vibe. And this time around, we spent time in our own rented trailer, which was cool. Every night was campfire night. The owners had a fire pit, and I love their fire pit. I want one. It's basically an old washing machine drum, and they welded a sort of a stand, so it wasn't just a drum sitting on the ground. There was a nice iron base at
lifted it up. And, you know, the cool thing about renting an RV the way we did was they basically took care of a lot, right? We didn't really need to bring a whole lot, even though we did. But, you know, they've got the plates and the cups and the mugs and the pots, the pans, and the firewood and the fire pit, you know, and the trailer had a nice mini kitchen. So at the morning, you know, they also had a propane, a gas stove outside on the table for us to use for grilling. We grilled in the evenings. We had fires at night. In the mornings, I'll cook breakfast in the trailer. I'll do like bacon and eggs and things. So very cool. You know, the kids got to use the bunk and the pull-out, sort of the trundle, if you will. And my wife and I, we had the other end of the trailer that had, I don't know what size, if it was a full or a queen, but it was a nice sized bed for the both of us. You know, a third, our youngest could easily sleep alongside of us if she wanted to, but she laid down with us, you know, parts of the evening just to hang out. So there was nice, roomy. It felt like, you know, being in an airplane or something. At least whenever, you know, there were two bathrooms, you know, one on each end of the trailer. One that had a sink in it, you know, and cabinets and things, and that was where the kids were. And where we were, we had a separate, it was just basically a toilet closet, you know, like a set of cabinets above, but it was just a toilet. And then once you were out of the toilet, there was a little shower section. Pretty cool. And but it felt like an airplane. When I sat in that toilet, it was like really tight, you know, and the panels, you know, for the walls, you know, it's that it reminded me of being in an airplane. Anyways, yeah, it was cool. And you know, at the campgrounds, at the park, you know, there was, you know, a short walk. There was a store, you know, pick up like marshmallow roasting sticks for the kids. You know, in the middle of the day or mid-morning, we'd hit the pool. And, you know, you're wondering, like, well, how about all this COVID and things? It's like, you know, there was, you know, there were people there. There were trailers there. And it wasn't like a crowded scene. Everyone sort of did their own thing. And, yeah, there were people who would go jogging along the roads or around the park, and kids would ride their scooters and bikes, but you know, there's a lot of open space. There was never a moment where we felt like, oh my God, there's just too many people here and it's out of hand. You know, and you know, so you know, families sort of just kept to themselves, and it was cool. But it was, I mean, when we were at the pool, you know, it didn't feel like, it felt like we were somewhere else, you know. Little, you know, would you think that you're in some RV property, basically, campsite, you know, along the freeway, you know. It was just so nicely done, you know, and we want to go back, you know. So no, it's cool. The place is, my wife just saw it last night. You know, for folks who are going to be at the park, like to Thanksgiving, they're giving away freshly baked pies, you know, to folks. I mean, it's not like we need a pie, but it's just the vibe, you know, of the holidays, and there's this giving vibe, and it's fun. It's just fun. You know, we did haul all the bikes. We took all the bikes with us on our rack, and you know, everyone pretty much made good use of their bikes except for me. You know, I took my bike around maybe just a couple times, you know, but it seemed like almost every morning, every night, the kids were out riding their bikes. They couldn't help it because there's just nice space to do it, and there's the vibe is such. You know, there's kids riding their bikes and scooters, and even at nighttime, you know, everyone's got lights hooked up to their bikes, LEDs and things, and it looked like nighttime bike riding was really festive. You know, 10 o'clock hit, quiet time, and it was peaceful. You know, so yeah, nice big trip. You know, that was in Buellton, California, a place called Flying Flags. Yeah, and 3 miles east of it was Solvang, where it's like the Danish capital of California, or I don't know if it's the U.S. as it's dubbed. And it was just nice seeing the architecture and things. And heading on the way there we spotted an ostrich farm. It was just the freakiest thing. You know, the kids never seen them before, and it was from a distance, but you know, they're just huge birds. You can't miss them. You know, a whole gang of them, and folks could stop over and, you know, participate in feeding them, but we weren't going to do that. No thanks. Yeah, it was cool. And since we were down there, that's Santa Barbara County, you know, we spent part of one of the days just making it back to Santa Barbara, the beach town, because my wife and I, before kids, we used to spend a lot of time taking trips to Santa Barbara. It was just, we like it there. The drive was fun, and you know, staying and visiting the beach and stuff was fun. So we took the kids there, and we did hang out at the beach, you know. And then as soon as the youngest one said she needed to potty, then it was like, all right, it's time to go. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. So now we're back home, and I'm at the store. I just pulled in. I gotta grab a bunch of stuff, as usual. All right, I'm back. Did my grocery run. Picked up some cheese for me and some greens. Yummy. So I was out on a trip and enjoying. It must have been Sunday night. Just enjoying the fire. Had the fire going, sitting outside. It's kind of cold, but that's why we had the fire. Not gonna have the fire when it's like sweltering hot. And the kids are riding their bikes at night. Good stuff. Fire going. Maybe I was about to grill something for dinner, or I had already done that, and just trying to make use of the fire. You know, maybe the kids had already done their marshmallow roasting. I don't know. I can't remember. But I was just chilling. I was just relaxing. And then I texted Lonnie, because earlier that day I told my wife that, I decided to make that one drink I had on Friday evening before we headed out on this trip, my last alcoholic drink. I needed to make those changes. And, the folks who tune in, they've heard me on and off talk about how I recognize that alcohol is a problem, and more ways than one. It supercharges, being out of shape, and it supercharges being unhealthy. At least at this point in time, and how much I've had it since this pandemic, and not feeling good about it. And so I told my wife, like, that was my decision. And she's like, yeah, I've noticed that, you've been drinking a lot, right? And if I wanted to, if this is her talking, if he's interested in, losing weight again, how is he going to do that if he just keeps drinking? But she, for her own reasons, didn't call it out. But in her own way, she did call out that I was chunking out. She'd pinch me here, she'd grab me there, and make fun of my butt crack, and look at me a certain way when I'm sitting and kind of slouching, and there's more to see around my gut than there used to be. It doesn't feel good, right? And many times I've talked about how I guess I'm looking for something to motivate me, and there hasn't been enough of anything to make me make that call. But I don't know, I last Friday I was grilling, and the only alcohol I had was just a single can of beer, right? I'm like, I'm gonna have that one. And it was like, just decided, like, this will be the end. This lonely can of beer, this will be it. So I'll savor it, right? And I'll just call it quits. And I had a moment where I was talking to my dad. I was talking to him. My dad's, he's passed for quite some time now, but just had to talk to him for a bit. Because my dad, growing up, he threw back many a six-pack, and he was an alcoholic. Went to AA and all that stuff, ups and downs, and and I was growing up, I was upset at him. And I think I was just raised to be upset at him because my mom was upset at him whenever, he had too much to drink and stuff. And so, just like, you know what, Dad? I kind of get it. I kind of get it how, you can kind of get kind of rooted in the alcohol. I kind of get it, Dad. And although I don't think that, I definitely didn't take it to the level that he had, or the length that he had. I think I drank occasionally, and enjoyed it, and it wasn't a problem, and until I just got out of shape, got a level of unhealth, and then I hit the alcohol kind of in warp speed. It was just so easy to do, and that's probably where the addictive personality kind of shined. It was like, it didn't matter where we were, if I was at home or if I was out on a trip, it was easy to get something to drink, whether it's a bourbon, whether it's a six-pack of beer, just anything. It was just like, I'm just gonna hit up the DoorDash app and just, boop, 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 ding dong, alcohol's here. It was like so convenient. It was such easy thing to do. It was like, didn't matter where I was, I can get my hit. But I didn't view it as that, like, I'm getting a hit. It was more like, at this moment in time, like, I'm gonna be grilling or something, I could use a drink. I could just, or, like, man, that was a long day, I could use another drink. I could drink this, drink that. It just felt like I was manufacturing moments that there needed to be a drink in hand. So I told my dad, it's just, I get it. And I'm done. And so, I told my wife about it, that I messaged Lonnie on, I think it was Sunday evening. I messaged Mark, just guys that I, have a level of closeness to, even though we've never met personally, physically. It's weird. I've at least gone and Zoomed with Mark, via FaceCam, but I can't remember whether Lonnie and I have ever done a cam-to-cam meeting. I asked one time, let's do a podcast face-to-face. He's like, he'd rather not. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push it. Not a big deal. Just try to switch things up. But yeah, so there I was, just, I'm on a trip, and, there were times in my mind where I'm thinking like, this would be a good time for a drink. Like, oh yeah, I quit drinking. So, and just like now, I went to the grocery store and I'm picking up some veggies and I'm picking up some things for my wife and the kids, and it's like, yeah, I could go for picking up a bottle of this or that. I'm like, no, but I don't anymore because I quit. So that's where it becomes tough, I guess, is where it's sort of like my mind is still used to manufacturing moments to where it would be ideal to have a drink, but I need to train my mind to say that there's never a moment where I really need a drink. Don't need it. And that's the battle. Hey. I'm back. So, it's Wednesday evening, so that's pretty much day 5 in the books. No alcohol. Kind of seems petty, but I've realized that I need to kind of target and celebrate, each day, be aware, of, not having any alcohol. I'm not waiting. It's funny, right? It's like tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and a lot of people are gonna, I don't know. I mean, it's a festive time, right? And it's the holidays, and time to celebrate. Have a good lunch or have a good dinner, and that could involve having wine or whatever your drink of choice is. The adults having alcohol, and without being concerned about the holidays, I've decided to just cut alcohol 5 days ago, and kind of looking at it day by day. I guess that's the way folks on a 12-step sort of situation. I don't really know, but they take it a day at a time, and it seems smart to me. And it's a struggle. Not like I'm like, I'm really out of shape or anything as far as not having to drink and getting like withdrawals or anything, but I am going through the evening, thinking like, this would be a perfect time to have a drink, right? And so that's where the struggle is. It's for these past many months, where I've sort of let myself go and hit drinking into higher gear, right? I have that habit of having a drink when I'm doing certain activities, daily activities, and I've had to manufacture many activities where it would be ideal to have a drink. So, like this evening while I'm doing some prep for Thanksgiving at our house, and so I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking, and it's at the evening, and I'm thinking like, this would typically be a time where it's typically the evening when I pull out a glass and I'll have a drink. So, I'm aware, like, oh yeah, but I don't do that anymore. So, I just have to get used to it. It's not like, it's not essential. I'm not going to die without it. But I'm just trying to figure myself out. So, for instance, when I was cutting up veggies, doing some prep work, and I was thinking about, this is typically when I'd have a drink, but I don't. So instead, I make myself a cup of coffee. So I'm trying to fill up that time where I would have had a drink with something else that isn't a drink. That isn't alcohol. Yeah, so having a nice evening cup of coffee. I love coffee, so I'm good to go. So by the time most of that, a good chunk of the prep was done and cooking, I'd already finished that cup of coffee, and I had gone past thinking about, this would be a perfect time for a drink because I've pretty much finished the activity. It's weird. It's like, when I was in high school, I smoked cigarettes for about a year, and that was a long time that's more than enough time to develop that habit. And when I smoked cigarettes, there were certain activities that I figured was an appropriate time to have a cigarette, like hanging out with friends and having a drink, smoke and drink. Or, to be like after a meal, or I don't know, just you can imagine. So, when I finally quit smoking, but I was still having the occasional drinks with buddies, that was an aspect, the smoking part was an aspect where I was like, something's missing, like I have a drink, but I'm supposed to be having a cigarette right now. But that was just that pattern that I developed and allowed to be the case, the activities that happen with the activities. And so kind of like this, like if when I was out with the family this past several days at the RV campground and I was grilling, it crossed my mind where like, this is the perfect time for me to have a drink while I'm grilling, why not? To me, that idea is still appealing, right? Grilling something delicious and having a drink in my hand, just chilling. But I don't do that anymore. So, and that's probably going to happen a lot more times, when I'm at home and I'm grilling in the backyard. I'm thinking like, this would be a perfect time to have a drink, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. Sometimes, I just, the thought of a drink crosses my mind, but I don't want to have a drink. I don't want to drink something. So I'm a little bit challenged to find ways to occupy that energy, right? Like something that's not harmful, that's helpful. So, that's why I was saying earlier, it's a struggle. It's a struggle not because I'm like, I've got the shakes and I'm having withdrawals. It's because it does creep into my mind time to time, like, oh, this would be a perfect time to have a drink, but I'm not going to drink. And I don't know what to call that, but I'm aware that it's there. So I just need to reconfigure my thought patterns by just kind of continuing to abstain. What a word. Sounds like something that has to do with sex and condoms. Or birth control. Abstain. So, yeah, it's just a freaky time, but just wanted to chime in and say, yep, pretty much 5 days, and I don't know if this is something I'll continue to do. I'll sort of check in, but, it wouldn't hurt. Check in every now and then. Something else, and I've never talked about it before, but, since putting on the weight, I've been feeling some weirdness with my body. Like when I'm laying in bed, I don't know if it's because I've just gotten too bloated in my gut or what, or if I'm dealing with other gut inflammation or something. But if I lay a certain way, there are times where my gut just feels really uncomfortable. Like I can't lay on my side for some reason. It just feels like tons of pressure on my gut. So I'll try laying the other way on my side on the side. That might be okay. It's just weird. Why, then I'll just lay flat on my back, and then I'd be fine. But yeah, it's just weird. It's like I've never felt sort of like that internal sort of weightiness on my gut that was uncomfortable, and it kind of made it uncomfortable to get a good breath. So and it doesn't happen all the time, but there are times where it does. So this morning I woke up and I felt I didn't feel that bloat. So every now and then I'm gonna sort of gauge how I feel when I'm laying down and kind of laying on my side, and see if that sensation sticks around. Also, I did feel I didn't feel so bloated around the abdomen this morning when I woke up. It felt actually kind of nice. Although I did step on the scale, I'm still kind of heaviest I've been since, I want to say, in the past 11. I mean, I probably haven't been this heavy. The last time I was this heavy is probably sometime after my first kid was born, I think. So that's he's 12 now, so that gives you an idea. So I stepped on the scale today at 165, and I thought, yeah, you know what? When I was 20 pounds lighter at 145, and I was complaining about, man, I'd love to be down to 140, right? Or sub 140, just to be nice and lean, because I'm not a tall guy. And here I am at 165. I'm thinking, why did I have to be unsatisfied with 145? Because here I am at 165. So yeah, it sucks, but that's what it is. And yeah, just another thought. Just another thought. What was that other thought? I'm trying to not do too many things at once. Since I'm still trying to sort out the whole not drinking thing. I figured it'd be get a good handle on the not drinking thing, and then transition into doing the next things, like getting more strict with NSNG, right? So I'm just, I'm not trying to do all of it at once. I'm going to be zero alcohol, completely NSNG, and I'm going to be pounding tons of exercise, because I don't know. I just think I need to sort of break it out. But not use that as an excuse to not get those things accomplished. But, like today, for example, day 5, no drinks, which is great. I pretty much fasted. I typically still fast, and when I just had coffee, coconut oil, heavy cream sort of thing. So fasting in the sense of not trying to raise my blood sugar. And when I did finally get something to eat, it was like goat's milk or sheep's milk cheese, some sort of Spanish cheese, and some dry salami, and that was kind of like around 4 o'clock, 3:34. I had some of that, and but then when it was time to kind of eat dinner with the family, we were out and about, and this is where I went off NSNG, and I went ahead and had burgers and fries with the family. So I'm okay with that, but that's something that I'm gonna have to clean up. Cut the fries, cut the bread. I totally know what needs to happen, but I sort of went like, well, yeah, this sucks food wise, but the win is that I've gone another day without drinking. So making myself sound like an alcoholic, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about taking on that label. My dad was one. I was raised by an alcoholic, and I don't know if me upping my frequency to drink throughout the pandemic is I don't know how do you what qualifies you to be an alcoholic, right? Because I don't want to take on the title alcoholic if that really isn't true. It's sort of like, because there are people who really, really have struggles with it, and I don't want to draw that sort of attention and label to myself. So that's why I'm not quite sure about labeling myself an alcoholic. I do recognize that I have an issue that's holding me back from being the best I can be, health wise. I wasn't the type of drinker that my dad was when I was growing up. He bitched a lot, and was kind of got ugly to be around. He was drunk. He got drunk regularly, and no one wants to be around a drunk. I drank, but I don't think that I carried myself as a drunk. I just was someone who drank, and then just had a drink, and I had several drinks, and that was it. But I wasn't like, oh, there's that drunk, I can't, I'm that drunk guy. I'm the guy that's walking around drunk and socializing drunk and being drunk around his kids, and yeah. Anyways, yeah. That's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. Ha! I'm back. I just did the last minute grocery shopping just for a few things. I'm gonna make some stuffed mushrooms for Thanksgiving, so those will be nice. We had them during the RV trip, and they were just a fun way to eat mushrooms. Haven't had them in a long time. Used to order them when we could at a favorite restaurant that I don't even think they're around anymore. I forgot what they were even called. There was one place in Sausalito and one place in Redwood City, but the one in Sausalito was the most memorable one because it was along the bay, so had nice views, good food. But yeah, I went to the grocery store, just picked up the mushrooms, some additional veggies like broccoli, and yes, something for the spice rack. My wife needed some things for the spice rack, and a couple things for baking something. Anyways, not a whole lot, but because there weren't a lot of items, I was wondering whether or not I missed something. So that led me wandering around the grocery store a little bit. And it's, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so tonight and probably early part of tomorrow, the store will be open, then it'll probably close early. I don't know. But, there's a lot of holiday stuff, right? Turkeys and hams and the fixins and drinks. So as I wandered around trying to figure out if there's anything else I would like to get, I would see the alcohol, and I'm thinking like, oh, that's fun, right? And, but I'm also like, but nah, but no thanks. So I wasn't bummed about the alcohol, but what I was kind of bummed about, there was sort of a bit of joy in shopping for alcohol. It's kind of weird. It was like one of those things where I spent some of my energy shopping, included the shopping for alcohol. So, perusing the aisle of bottles or seeing what's on display and, having that choice, that open choice to buy into a promotion or something, right? Like, some of the whiskey came in like gift packages, where you get a bottle and a couple of similar branded glasses or things. So it's like, oh, that's fun, to buy something like that, right? But so now I just don't have a need to participate in that sort of shopping because I'm not going to be drinking. So, and I'm not going to lie, it's, even though that's what I say it is, I wonder, like, am I bummed? Really? Am I really bummed about it? But why, or is it just me trying to adjust my activities, right? I've made it so easy to shop around for something alcoholic to drink and get into at home that now that's not happening anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I am aware that I've sort of bridged a bit some of the drinking with a bit more coffee, which is not bad. But then at some point, it's like, I'm not interested in coffee. So I'll just have good old water, and then sometimes it'll be like, I'm gonna pound some lemon flavored seltzer water, right? The LaCroix or whatever, which I used to just like stay away from when I was pretty clean, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but really I don't need it. This is what I would say. I don't need to drink it. I can just drink coffee and water or water with lemon. But I guess I've become that guy who, has quit a type of drinking and is going to use the LaCroix type drinks to sort of bridge off of, sort of like substitute and then kind of wean off of. I mean, I guess I'm also using it as a way to occupy my time, the time where I would crack open a can and chug on something fizzy. It sounds kind of dumb, right? Like, what am I, 6? That I need to replace that activity to get that sensation, But it is what it is. It's like there's a little bit of satisfaction with me. Like, I'm gonna reach in the pantry and grab a can of LaCroix. I don't like. I'm not the type that one needs to have my cans of LaCroix chilled. You know, I just leave it in the pantry, sort of room temp. And if I feel like I want to crack open a can, I just reach in the pantry and stick my hand in the box. You know, the whatever, the 6 or 4 or 8 pack, or I don't know, whatever pack they come in. Grab a can and crack and chug some fizzy liquid. At some point, I feel like, God, I just too much fizzy stuff. I'm done. So I just need to do something that sort of occupies my time and sort of band-aids any sort of like thought, right? You know, and hopefully I just sort of don't need any of those band-aids anymore, you know, because the thought pattern changed or changes. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna text a friend, a different friend, and he's probably not gonna care, but I'll let him know. Hey, just wanted to let you know, I've quit alcohol. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Anywho, that's all I got for real. Calling it a night. I'm back home from the store. Bye.
Do you need a website? If you're an individual, a consultant, a group, or small business and need a site, or maybe you have an existing site, I can help. How about graphic design? Do you need a design for a t-shirt, logo, product, business cards? You know, maybe you need help with designing and developing a brand. I'm not an expert, but I do have the tools and the techniques to get the job done. How about a podcast? Yep, like this thing. This thing's a silly little show. Are you looking to set up a podcast of your own? Are you looking to reach an audience? Promote your business via podcast? Well, Abadam Studios. That's right, Abadam Studios. Yeah, so that's Abadam Studios. AbadamStudios.com, AbadamStudios.com. Check it out.
Alright, that's enough fiddling. I'm back. I'm fiddling with my earbuds, but I'm just going to talk louder. And to me, upon review, the audio sounds really, I don't know if hollow is the right word, but F it. So here we are. It is Friday. It's Black Friday. And it was last Friday. I'm just sort of checking in. Last Friday when I had my last drink. So it's about a week. It's a week. I'm a week without a drink, and I was thinking about it. It's like, you know, I've been talking about it for just enough to make it sound like I'm an alcoholic, and we're trying to like really really trying to put a focus on it. And maybe I'm not an alcoholic, maybe I am. I don't know, but all I know is that, you know, I think about having a drink, and I have to consciously tell myself, "You're not having a drink," right? And that is my goal. That is my decision, and I don't want to fail in that decision, right? I want to be the guy that says I hadn't had a drink in years, that kind of guy, right? And I don't need it, and I don't want it, and I don't want to be, I don't know. You know, and I'm not going to lie, there are times today where I'm like, or even yesterday, because it was Thanksgiving, like, you know, feeling happy with things, and it's like, oh, this is kind of a celebratory sort of situation. A drink would sound perfect. A drink would sounds called for or whatever, right? And then, you know, that's my thought, and I have the other side of me has to say nah, but you don't drink, so that's not even going to happen. So, it's just weird. It's weird because I have to have that one half of me, you know, one is the demon on my shoulder, and the other shoulder has the angel, and they're kind of like opposing and trying to convince me one or the other. And, and that internal sort of dialogue and whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it struggle. It's a bit of a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. That's what makes me question. Am I just really an alcoholic? I don't know. I'm sure everyone's different with their level of addictive sort of stuff. I talked about it in the last segment where I've developed a habit of doing certain activities and in that moment of that activity, deciding, settling in on having a drink because I've told myself that's an appropriate time and I need it. One of those moments are, when I'm helping my wife out with doing a bunch of baking and stuff. And don't worry, I don't eat the baking because that's not appealing to me. But nonetheless, she'll do majority of the baking and I'll do majority of the icing and the decorating, right? And sometimes, they're 2-3 hour sessions, working on decorating cookies and things. And, for the past several months, I've decided, especially if it's going to be pretty tedious, I'm just going to have a nice drink next to me, right? And, so that's another one of those activities or those moments where it's like, this would be perfect, but no. So, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with myself doing certain activities, like when I'm doing a long session of cookie decorating, or any other thing, right? Like maybe just doing a nice, easy grilling in the backyard, like I talked about last segment. What do I do with myself, right? Well, how do I shift my focus or shift my thought? So, I don't know. Tonight was one of those times, it's holiday baking time, so there's holiday decorating time, and there's tedious work to be done, icing and things of that nature, and I've thought about it, at least once, like, oh yeah, I don't drink, right? So then it's like, okay, I'll have a cup of coffee, but yeah, I'm not ready for that cup of coffee just yet, so I have to figure out what else it is, and so I'm listening to music and trying to figure out something that'll kind of occupy my mental space while I decorate cookies. And tonight it happened to be Metallica. I don't often pull open that playlist, but it did the job. So I don't know if this is a pattern, I don't know if it'll mean every time I'm decorating cookies and I'm thinking about a drink, that one time that I'm gonna just crack open some Metallica. I don't know. Just seemed fun to have some Metallica going. And you guys are probably wondering, okay, what album? I only owned one Metallica album, back before the whole streaming was a thing. And it was, what was it? Garage Inc. So there's a lot of albums that came or CDs that came before that one that are classic. And, fortunately, those I can get streaming just like I did this project. But I pulled open that particular album because it was the one that I once owned, and I just wanted to remember what it was all about. A handful of fun tracks and a few really, really fun ones. Really, really fun ones that I enjoyed that I just forgot about. And reminded myself. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving in the U.S. like I do. And who am I? You know, I a lot of folks, it wasn't as filled with relatives and things. It was the just immediate family, which was plenty enough, and we had a nice, easy Thanksgiving lunch. I did the herb up prime rib roast, and we picked up a ham. My wife picked up a honey baked ham. The family tends likes that a lot. Um, yeah, we had a variety of sautéed veggies. We had some stuffed mushrooms. For my wife, I made what was called a hibachi fried rice. I made, I prepared my grandmother's lumpia recipe and had that. What else do we have? My wife had ordered a pumpkin pie from somewhere local. And what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You had some Hawaiian sweet rolls on the side. So, needless to say, it was a lot of food. A lot of food and some good leftovers. And, yeah, ate a lot. No alcohol. So, none of that stuff. And from there, we wrapped up lunch, kind of chilled out a little bit, and then we took a drive to a place we call Donut Town. And what that means is we drive up to Concord, which is several cities up, just to go around where there's a Krispy Kreme donuts, because the kids like Krispy Kreme donuts. And we just took a shot, figured they'd be closed, but we just took a shot just to see if they would be open. But it was primarily for the drive and did the drive. Yep, they were closed. And then got home. My wife had a lot of baking related stuff to do, and I put up majority of the Christmas decorations. Had to put away some of the remaining Halloween decorations, and that was a lot of work. It was primarily like these purple or these dark lights that are on the hedge like vegetation in front of the house. But put the inflatables up, put the lights over the bushes and things, and yeah, and then decided that we weren't going to light up a tree outside that we used to. We used to wrap a bunch of lights around the trunk of this particular tree in front of our house, and not this year. Like, it's kind of dumb. So we had these extra set of lights, and so I decided I'm just gonna put them in the backyard, kind of drape them, kind of like garland along the top edge of the backyard fence. And we already have sort of these patio lights, these stringed up lights. So we just added more lights with various colors, so it gives the backyard more festive than it already is kind of vibe. So that was fun. And today we bought some lights that were to be sort of strung up along the front trim of the roof above the driveway, the gutters and things. Awesome. Yeah. So as far as food, what's cooking? Not a whole lot other than leftovers from Thanksgiving. But we have something cool coming up. We are planning to have one family over, and then my wife's cousin's kids and things. And we've had them over before during the pandemic. We're gonna kind of do this North Pole breakfast my wife actually has made it somewhat of a tradition for our family, and every now and then we'll invite others to participate. And this year, the invite went over to her cousins' kids. So they'll come over, and my wife decks the dining room with a bunch of sort of holiday elf sort of theme. And she does a whole bunch of like pancakes and chocolate chip pancakes and things, and she has little activities and gifts, and it's just a fun time for the kids. It's all for the kids. So that's what's going to happen tomorrow. It should be fun. As far as exercise and working out, I haven't really done anything. As I mentioned last time, I sort of want to focus on just getting a handle on myself, not having my mind preoccupied with having a drink. And then from there, sort of zero in on other things like tightening up my NSNG and getting the exercise. I am making a conscious decision to be out. That's why I spent time out with the decorations and things, and on the roof and all that. But yeah, so it's a process, I suppose. And yeah. Anyways, I gotta hop into the store. I gotta pick up some things. What else is new? I'm back. So I just went into a grocery store that I don't go to that often, but I used to years ago with my mom. And it's weird how this place reminds me of when I was really, really hitting it well with NSNG and being on track and fitter and all of that stuff. But I don't know why it takes the familiarity of this particular place to remember certain things. But I just walked into this place and there's like a dozen aisles, right? And I need to get to the back of the store because I need to get to the dairy section, the milk and stuff. That I had to buy a carton of buttermilk. And so then it's like, okay, which aisle do I cut through? And I cut through the bread aisle. And I remember like my mom wanted me to take her shopping, and she would buy like the wheat bread, like the generic store brand wheat bread, and it just had this funky smell to it. And I was like, I can't believe I used to eat that. And I sort of accepted the fact that it smelled gross. And so my mom was doing it. And as I walked through it, I was like, oh my God. I remember thinking, and it's still the same, it's like, there's a lot of bread here. There's a lot of bread. That's and then on the opposite side, to my left, it's just loads of crackers and things. But then it got me thinking about how, like, there was a time where I was really like really riding high on NSNG and having lost a bunch of weight and feeling healthier and all that stuff. And no matter what I said to my mom, I couldn't convince her to go otherwise. Anyways, I thought it was interesting, because just remembering how I was, and in more ways than one, right? How I was as far as my disgust for, the whole bread aisle, and how I was, my body composition was leaner, and I was good. Unlike today, where I need to try my best to get back to that place, along the way from there to here, I did lose that need to regurgitate over and over and over, the the nutritional sort of side of things, especially if and I still find myself that way where I'll have a conversation with somebody who's basically hitting the right notes for me to be like, yeah, this guy was basically me 2, 3, 4 years ago, and he's got a lot of enthusiasm, and he's that guy now who I used to be, who's just spewing, a lot of information. And I remember being that guy and having people's eyes roll, or people kind of taking that sigh or that deep breath and exhale, it's like, okay, I'm just talking their ear off, they're not really listening, and I'm that idiot, and I just got to stop. And I'm not going to be that anymore. I'm not going to be that guy anymore. So that's, I've sort of coached myself to like, just shut up, and, it just kind of got boring to hear over and over again. I don't know. I wonder in a way, staying that guy who liked to preach even though no one wanted to hear it would have kept me on target over these past several years, right? To not slip or to be better. I don't know. Yeah, but it's funny too. Like I come out of the store and I'm having this dialogue with myself, not about alcohol, but about fat. Right? I mentioned I had to pick up some buttermilk for my wife, and there were 2 types of buttermilk. Right? They were both reduced fat buttermilk. One was the store brand, which was the one that had the least amount of fat in it. And then the other was a Knudsen brand, which was also reduced, but it had a little bit more fat than the store-bought. And my wife, she knows what's up, and she doesn't like the reduced buttermilk. So she'll be happy to know that I had 2 options and I picked the higher of the 2. Ideally, there would just be like a full-fat buttermilk, but what dairy company is going to be making money on full-fat dairy milk? Anyways, maybe I just don't know. I'm shopping in the wrong stores. But, I walk out of the store thinking about, like, people I know have the mindset of, trying to reduce the amount of fat that their kids eat. And, then I remind myself, or I just imagine myself having this conversation, like, that's just not right information. That's the information that doctors tell the old people these days. Stay away from fat and cholesterol. But that should not be you dictating how your kids are going to eat, because they actually need that stuff to, have a healthy brain. Why are you thinking about reducing your kids' cholesterol and fat consumption? They need that stuff. Anyways, then that got me thinking about what I was thinking about, and it's like, here I am having this dialogue about fat like I used to, I suppose it's better that I have this internal dialogue about nutrition and fat than me having an entire dialogue about avoiding alcohol and stuff. So maybe this is just part of the process. I don't know.
Hey everybody, it's me. It's Ruel. I'm back. It's a Sunday night, and we had a good time yesterday with it almost felt like it was Thanksgiving all over again, but it also felt like Christmas. It was sort of that in between, because we met up with some cousins at a park, and surprised at how many people were at the park. But it was still a good amount of distance that everybody kept. But it was nice to see folks enjoying getting fresh air. which makes the most sense. And, I was reading some information, and Lonnie can back this information up probably, about how, as far as air pollution, like inside your house versus, outside. I read some information where, there's just, you could, your indoor environment can just have a bunch of pollutants, so, if, especially now that it's getting colder and some places more colder than here, and you're just kind of caught inside, your indoor environment is, God, who knows how stagnant, that air is going to be unless you've got a good sort of system of air and filters and things kind of going through, not to mention, all of the dust and dust mites and things of that nature that, are inside, which, I don't know, Lonnie, is there a whole bunch of like dust mites sort of situations going on outside the house that need to be worried about? Anyways, so it was nice to be out. There was like, people were like dancing, there was like a group of women practicing some dance moves and stuff. Kids enjoying the paved sections of the park, and with their scooters and things. And we did the usual. We met up with the cousins, and we set up some hammocks, and just got that sun and that fresh air until it got cold and the sun started to make its way down. Then we said, screw that, and went in. But it was fun. It felt kind of festive, and it felt kind of cool. But yeah, so that was Saturday. It's Sunday now, and it's the end of Sunday. I can't believe how fast Sunday went. Got up in the morning, and I want to bring this up for, I guess, family and stuff, family and food. Two of our kids participated in an online course. It's through outschool.com. The instructor is Chef Joanna. Just kind of wanted to shout out to Chef Joanna. She's out of Tennessee. She's originally from California, but she's a chef, as her title indicates. And she's doing these online courses just to sort of promote to young ones how you can make quick and easy healthful foods. So this morning, the kids got to learn how to prepare eggs, and rather than have the kids do, I think she demonstrated 3 ways to do eggs, but I just had the kids participate in one way because they're not going to eat all 3 types of styles of eggs. And it was cool. It was our 7-year-old and our 10-year-old, and they got to make scrambled eggs over toast. Actually, my youngest one didn't care for the toast, so she went just straight scrambled egg, and the older one went and took her toast and just made an egg sandwich, a straight up egg sandwich. Oh, he sprinkled some cheese on it. But, because it was a kid-friendly thing, they didn't have to fuss with, like, the stovetop or anything like that. It was one of these ones where get a microwave-safe bowl, and they prepped the egg, beat the egg, and, seasoned and butter and things. And they were given the instruction on how to, because everyone's microwave is different, how to microwave an egg. Right? How to
how to do it in increments and gauge the doneness of the egg, how to manipulate the egg, on each each 30-minute completion until it was done. So that was cool. We've actually had the kids participate in many other, I want to say 2 other courses that Chef Joanna had done, and it's fun. It's neat. Wish her the best of luck, and we look forward to other courses from her, and just wanna shout out.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.